everyone, the topic of this video is physical or physiological insomnia versus psychological insomnia. And a lot of this content I draw from just personal experience in the area, and I think dating back to the teenage years for me, there's been some issues every now and then with just difficulties with either falling asleep or sleeping for a decent amount of time, such as the normal 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes I just have difficulties falling asleep at night, and sometimes when I do sleep and I wake up, I have difficulties. Let's say I wake up for a little bit and I have difficulties falling back asleep. And I believe that two of the main culprits for insomnia are either just the body's physiological response to some type of situation, or a just psychological response to some sort of situation. The first one, physiological, it could be just from maybe the body is overly rested already, so it doesn't need more sleep, so that's why the insomnia occurs. It could be the body has some sort of caffeine or other type of stimulant that's keeping it awake. Or it could be just things like hunger or illness, or some type of ailment. The other possible culprit for insomnia is a psychological reason. Maybe there is some sort of internal restlessness that manifests itself in a physical way, i.e., sleep difficulties. And that could come from just being restless in the mind, stressed out, concerned over something, worried, or maybe some sort of social interaction or emotional response was elicited that triggered a physiological response, again in the form of insomnia. Now, in my personal experience recently, I've had difficulties falling asleep or sleeping for only short periods of time and not being able to fall back asleep once waking up. And I wanted to figure out which one it was that caused it, a physiological issue or a psychological issue. And this time I looked at something that had been going on for a while during the dieting phase I was going through. And what I noticed was, on days that there was low calories or low amounts of carbohydrates, around 100 grams of carbohydrates or less, I noticed that at nights I'd have a kind of rumbling in the stomach, and it could be just that was the body telling me that it was hungry still and the calories weren't sufficient enough. And one of the biggest clues that this was the culprit for me was when I went on vacation to California. I didn't track any sort of calories or track any sort of food that I ate. I just ate to be content and to be satiated. And I noticed that each and every night I was in California, I slept amazing. I could fall asleep pretty much as soon as I put my head on the pillow. And so it occurred to me that it must be the calories, the dieting, that was causing the insomnia. So it was a physiological reason. And again, when I came back from California, after all that carefree eating, I decided to scale back some calories just to balance it out. And that one night that I did have low calories, I think it was 1,300 or less, and the carbs were definitely below 100 grams. And I noticed it was difficult, extremely difficult to fall asleep that night. And each and every other time that I may have had low calories, sometimes I may have more than 100 calories, or 100 carbs, 100 grams of carbs, but the fats were like less than 20 grams of fat, which is not good at all. Again, the sleep issue occurred again. So it must have been the dieting that triggered the most recent bouts of insomnia. And so my plan going forward was to, again, not drop below 100 grams of carbs ever, and then try to build up to 125 grams of carbs and eventually to 150 grams, and kind of maintain a steady pace at that amount for a while and see how the body responds. And so far, once the calories were just like around under 1,500 as opposed to 12 to 1,300 calories a day, the sleep was improving so much. And I know now, learned an important lesson about dieting and sleep loss. And so once I managed the physiological reasons that the insomnia was occurring, I hope to improve better quality of life through improved sleep quality. And I'm going to try to maintain a consistent scheduling with sleep time and wake up time to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to improve my quality of sleep, and that's the plan going forward. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope it was some food for thought.